Hey guys, this is Joe East here again, continuing on our little series on artificial intelligence. Since computers are largely based on a computer language, we need to first of all go over the basics of language itself, so you can dig deep into this concept. And then once you dig deep enough into the language concept, then you can understand how artificial intelligence, which is based on a computer language, cannot be intelligent like a human brain. That's where we're headed. So I'm going to have to lay a pretty solid foundation on the language itself first before we get there. All right, efficiency of language analogies. So whatever language you speak, English, French, Spanish, Russian, whatever, it is a tool of efficiency to communicate certain things between different people, or to store information for retrieval later on, say in books, paper, and nowadays computers. However, the structure of language is structured on efficiency of a very select few things you can communicate. There's certain things you cannot communicate using language. Now, we can compare that to, say, driving on an interstate highway very fast. Let's say we want to get from point A to point B and it's 20 miles away. We want to travel 70 miles per hour. Okay? That'll get us there in about 17 minutes at that rate of speed. Okay? Now, an interstate highway is paved concrete or blacktop asphalt. And your car can go typically 70 miles an hour if it's not too many potholes or construction areas. Now, consider if there was not a highway or was not an interstate highway, how quickly could you get from point A to point B without the interstate? Okay. Now, if there was no road, there would be, say, a field, a forest, various streams to cross, mud, lakes. So when you average out the actual speed without, say, an interstate highway or without a highway, you'd probably be going about 10 to 20 miles per hour total whenever you average out the speed. Unless you're in an open field that's flat, which is unlikely if you're traveling 20 miles. So if you're traveling 20 miles without roads, you're going to go maybe 10 miles an hour, maybe. Okay, so that's the analogy of what language gives you, the 70 mile an hour, 17 minutes from point A to point B efficiency versus what's actually in the subconscious mind that cannot be expressed in language. Okay? You're not capturing everything with words. One thing is like reading ancient writings like scripture, and how many interpretations can you have of, say, scripture or ancient writings? Millions, tons of interpretations, because it's written down, but it doesn't capture the essence of what everything that's going on, because language is efficiency. It doesn't capture everything. That's why there's liturgy, walking through things, meditations, prayer that's passed on by word of mouth and with rituals, because language can't capture everything. Okay. Now let's consider the state of Texas, one of the biggest states in the U.S. I think second largest behind Alaska. So your three major cities in Texas is Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. All right, and there's interstate highways, obviously, between these three cities, and some of the other ones also, Austin, some of the other ones. But what I did was I did some calculations here, as an analogy. So I took every interstate highway in Texas, and assume you can see, say, about 1.5 miles right or left out of your windows, and how much of the state of Texas you could see just traveling the interstate highways only, and not the back roads, and not even traveling through open fields, because there's large portions of Texas you can't get to. There's no roads there. West Texas, right? You can't see. So let's say you can only see Texas through the interstate highways, traveling, let's say, 70 miles an hour. Okay. Well, you're only going to see 2.88% of the state, the entire state, just traveling the interstate highways. And here's a relative square miles of interstate highways versus the whole state. So here's another analogy. Yes, the interstate highways get you from point A to point B very fast. It gets you to the important places really, really fast. It's efficient, gets there. But there's a whole 90+% of the state you can't even see with the interstate highways. You got to get there inefficiently, either on a smaller road or through an open field or through the desert, right? So that's a good analogy of what language gives us. Language helps us to format concepts efficiently in a small subset of very important concepts for communication and storage of information, but we only get a very small percentage of them. Maybe the most important things we could get down in language. And it's a structure of language. It makes us very tunnel vision, gives us certain direction, certain things we need to get with language, and that's it. And as an analogy, seeing the state of Texas is kind of sort of language is like the interstate highways, getting us there faster. Okay, next lecture we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this. Appreciate you listening. We're going to close this out. Take care.